All right, we are going to start the video the same way we always do. I told myself I wasn't going to tie any Chironomids this year, but mainly because I tied so many last year. But this pattern performed so well that I'm going to have to share it with you guys. And we're going to let this settle. Oh yeah. All right, there we go. So hopefully I can finish this beer before we finish tying. Cheers, guys. All right, so we got the hook and the vise. We're ready to go. Stick around to the end because I'm going to be using RAIDZAP resin for the first time, and we're going to do a little unboxing. So hook and the vise today, I've got a Togens curved nymph hook. This is a size 12. Typically I would tie this fly in maybe a size 16 or a 14, but just for the sake of the video today, the size 12 shows up a lot better on camera. So UTC 70 is our tying thread. This is a blue dun. And we're just gonna get some thread on there. You'll notice I moved the bead backwards. The bead that we're using is a size 7/64 bead, which is good for a size 12 hook. Now, if you're gonna go down to a size 14, you probably wanna get a 3/32, and if you're gonna be doing a size 16, 5/64 bead works great. So our first material that we're tying in is gonna be some white antron for the gills. So just come straight over there, work your tying thread back, and then we're just gonna snip off the extra and then come back in and tighten that up. Just gonna adjust the light there a bit, and then we can go ahead and whip finish, cut our thread, and move our bead back to the front. One thing that I'll notice is that, or one thing I'll say is that when you put the bead on, typically you'd put the bead on with a small hole first. When I put the gills on, I like to put the big hole, the big hole first, just so you can get a wider, I guess, gape at the front there, so the bead slides on those gills nice and easy. And then we can just bring our thread on the other side here, just like that. Trim off the excess, and then I'm going to trim our gills to size here now too. So what I like to do is just kind of keep it the same size as the bead. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Oh man, I love Guinness. Okay, moving on. Ultra wire, size small. This is a copper. And I'm just gonna tie this in, coming down my side of the fly. And we're just gonna bring that all the way down, basically to where that barb starts, just like that. And this is the most important time to give that thread a counterclockwise spin, just to make sure that it's going to be lying flat as we work on our taper. So just like so, every time you wrap it, every time you do a revolution with your wrap, you're putting in you're kind of cording up that thread. So in order for it to lay flat, give it a little counterclockwise spin. It's a good trick. Okay, moving on here, we're going to be tying in some buzzer wrap. So this is a I guess fluorescent smoke color. It's a gray. It's a black gray. And we're just going to tie this in right where our thread is. So do one wrap there, and then we can just work our thread right up to the bead. Just going to do another counterclockwise spin just to flatten that thread out. because we want it laying flat just to give a slim profile on the Chironomid. Now for the taper, all I'm going to do, so let's say that this is 100% of the way. That's where our thread's covering. So I'm going to come back about 75% of the way, and then back, come back 50% of the way, and back, and then go a quarter of the way. So that just kind of gives us a natural taper, and it's very easy to follow. So we're going to work our thread back to about that 75% of the way. Give our thread another counterclockwise spin just to flatten that out. Then I can return our thread to the bead. Stop there, and then come 50% of the way, about like that. Another little counterclockwise spin to flatten it out. Keep that thread nice and flat. Now we're going to come to that 25% mark about there and bring our thread back. So we just kind of created a nice easy taper, excuse me, all the way through. Cheers. Okay, now we can wrap our buzzer wrap. And I always like to judge people on how fast they can tie chironomids by how fast they can bring your buzzer wrap up to the front. Nice overlapping wraps. Right to the bead. Tie that off. 2 behind, 2 in front. Now we can bring our wire forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I just like to do 3 or 4 thread wraps behind and a couple in front just to make sure it's really locked in before we give this thing a helicopter. There we go. And right away, I'm going to come in with our whip finish. Do 2 spins of the whip finish. Trim off our thread. And then I've got our next thread color. So this is a fluorescent orange. Fluorescent fire orange. So you can see that color. So this is what gives this Chironomid a hotspot. And I think this is why it was so productive last year. Yeah, it worked really, really well. I really like how that stayed on there, so just gonna try again. And we're just giving this thing a couple spins just to give it some color. Size 12 is pretty big for a Chironomid. But yeah, if you can tie these things in a in a 16 or a 14, you're gonna be doing just fine. Okay. So there we have it. That's the Hotspot Chironomid. The beer's only halfway through, so I'm going to do the unboxing of the RAIDZAP here in a sec. Okay, so let's check this out. Okay, so this is super thin, perfect for doing chironomids, doing like scuds, that sort of thing. I've never used this one before. I've used oh, there's some more things in the box. I got the applicator, like the nail polish one, so I guess that's for the cap here. It also comes with I guess this is a finer, just for more precision when you're putting the resin down. And then it comes with this little rubber O-ring, which I assume is for the applicator as well. So I've got my UV light. So let's give this a go. Okay, so let's try the fine tip applicator, or the precision here. Now there's only going to be one real way to test this, and that's going to be on the water, so we'll see how this works. I have a feeling this is going to come out kind of fast here, so I'm just going to put a little bit down if I can. And let's just start with a little bit here, see how this works. So just using my bodkin here to kind of smooth it over. It's laying really nice. Just gonna try a little bit more. Okay. Let's hit that with the light, see what it looks like. You can see how that fluorescent color just pops. And some people have allergic reactions to resin, so what I like to do is just kind of blow on it so this, when the smoke, if there is any that comes up, you don't breathe that in. Yeah, I mean, it goes on really nice. I might try to do another coat, but there you have it. That's the Hotspot Chironomid. I fished this quite a bit last year, and yeah, it was bobber down. So I hope this works out for you, and like I said, we're gonna have to test this out on the water, and that's the real way to see how this resin is gonna hold up. Until next time, fish on. Love a good Guinness. Cheers, guys.